name is Asha Samput and welcome to this new edition of Business Africa, your magazine dedicated to the continent's business and economic news. As usual, you can win $150 in our Business Africa game. More details later, but first, today's top stories. Ghana's fishing canoes carved out of tree trunks seek a new future.
It will be appropriate that we rather go fiberglass fully so that it will help the depleting of our forest. And then also, it will help us to do a better fishing in this country.
No more feather boas, but still a flourishing business. South African ostrich meat appeals to fans all over the world.
And so there was a boom here, the feather boom, when in Edwardian times, La Belle Époque, when the feathers were very, very important for a lady.
A golden fruit, pineapple drives the development of an entire value chain in Togo.
Mon travail d'encadrement consiste à donner.
My job as an advisor is to provide producers with the technical notions they need to have a better yield.
Avoir de bons rendements.
We now take you on the coasts of Ghana for this first report. These stunning painted canoes carved out of tree trunks are a sight to behold in these seaside fishing communities. Yet, behind these vibrant colors and the strength of local craftsmanship, a darker new reality looms. While the shrinking fish stocks and the threat of deforestation are having an increasing impact on the lives of fishermen, while also questioning this rich tradition of canoes dug out of trees. Our correspondent John Awotwi has more. The hustle and bustle that goes on these landing sites is only a way of life. Nana Jujo Solomon has been in the fishing administration for over 35 years and is currently an executive member of the Ghana National Canoe Fishermen Council.
Our activities are always out of dugout logs called the canoe. Yes, that is what we basically use as our vessels, propelled by outboard motors from between 15 horsepower to 40 horsepower. We also have premix fuel as a subsidized product from the government to help ease, the plight and the capital intensity of the fishermen.
The marine vessel, the dugout canoe, is a product of indigenous craftsmanship made from wawa logs, a wood species that is almost endangered. For this reason, the cost of production is relatively high and regulated, owing to the cost of purchasing the tree from the loggers, payment of commissions, levies, and the customary rights. Additionally, the craftsmen who mold these canoes are becoming rare, as it requires skills and lots of energy and motivation to build the vessel. Stephen Mensah, a 30-year-old school dropout, is very skillful at constructing all sizes of canoes. He, however, thinks the job is not for the lazy.
Digging out canoes is not a lazy job. It's very difficult. Lazy young guys cannot do this type of job. This work is only for hard-working and determined guys.
Closely linked to the construction of these fishing vessels is the environmental threat that deforestation poses. Ghana's forest resources have largely been overexploited to a rate that is unsustainable, with a fast depletion of forest reserves. The major problem is the fact that the forestry policy is ineffective and the users of the wood product do not have a long-term plan to replant the wawa trees. There's hope that alternative technologies could be explored. Tony Dancer is a mechanical engineer who works with fiberglass technology. He proposes the adoption of other alternatives.
Fiberglass is a material which was discovered quite not too long ago, and it was used for fabricating of lighter crafts. when it was used for sea craft or watercraft, it was found that it was light and swift, and also the viscosity between the material and then the surface of the water was so low. So for that reason, it could fly and flow easy. It will be appropriate that we rather go fiberglass fully, so that it will help the depleting of our forest, and then also it will help us to do a better fishing in this country.
Currently, the average lifespan of a canoe is less than 10 years, and then coupled with a rocky coastline, canoes are damaged more frequently than expected, making the demand for new canoes higher than anticipated. Nana Jujo Solomon enumerates some challenges of the fishing enterprise.
We go out in expeditions just hoping that we'll come across a school of fish, and now looking at the population explosion and the efforts on the marine stocks by both artisanal fishers and industrial fishers, it has become an obsolete practice, and therefore it's a big challenge. Fishermen can embark on expeditions for 3 to 4 months without landing a single fish, which is a problem, which is a national security problem, which is a job security problem, which also is a food security problem.
Ghana's thriving fishing industry provides employment and livelihood for close to 10% of the population, and the contribution of the fishing industry to the country's GDP is estimated around 5% over the last 20 years. It is hence critical to find alternative resources to build the dugout canoe for the betterment of the fishing industry, the livelihoods of fishermen, and the Ghanaian forest. After 2.5 years of negotiations and delays, the new text of the Cottonwood Agreement was concluded last month. It does not change trade agreements between Europe and the Organization of African, Caribbean and Pacific Countries, but it contains new features, for example, a security and migration component, as well as the inclusion of sustainable development goals. This month, African states are also expected to ask for an increase in European funding and investment to ensure their energy transition. New concerns about avian influenza in Africa. After cases that appeared on a farm in Senegal last winter, outbreaks of contamination are spreading in several African states, such as Niger, Nigeria and Algeria. Mali has also confirmed its first cases of outbreak of the H5N1 virus. In the south of the continent, several countries, including Zimbabwe, Namibia and Botswana, have suspended their imports of eggs and poultry from South Africa after the signs of an outbreak in the country. And this threat of contamination with the H5N1 virus worries the ostrich farming sector in South Africa. The memory of the 2011 epidemic and the 38,000 animals that had to be slaughtered has left its mark. To get more insights on this sector, we went to the Little Karoo region in South Africa, which supplies more than 70% of global demand, mainly from Europe, a demand which mainly concerns the meat, renowned for its flavor and nutritional qualities. Take a look.
The region of Little Karoo in the south of the continent is the ostrich capital of the world. Nestled between two mountain ranges, its arid land is the ideal environment to breed the world's largest bird. Legend has it that it is also the most stupid of birds, but farmers care little about the size of its brain, its tender red meat, the distinctive leather made from its skin, and its gossamer feathers have been in demand since the 19th century.
And so there was a boom here, the feather boom, when in Edwardian times, la Belle Époque, when the feathers were very, very important for a lady. Although the feather lost its value after the Second World War, fashion changed. The motor car made it very difficult to travel with a hat full of feathers in a car, so the fashion changed. And it was overproduction, it was the First World War, and after the First World War people didn't. It was the end of that frivolous way of dressing.
When the fashion for feathers faded, ostrich leather had its glory days. The Utsdoorn breeders have such illustrious clients as Louis Vuitton, Hermès and Gucci, not to mention demand from America for designer cowboy boots. The luxury goods market was seriously affected by the global recession. with demand down by 20 to 35%. But the ostrich still has class. Last year, the Chateau de Versailles ordered feathers to restore Louis XIV's bed.
It started out with the feather industry, with the plumes being exported to Europe for ladies' hats. And from that time, the product, or the ostrich, has a certain mystique around it. We are dealing with a wonderful product. It's a beautiful product, and it will always be in demand if we can supply it in the right colors and the right finishes to the market.
South Africa supplies over 70% of world demand for ostrich meat, leather and feathers. Catering for over 60% of South African production, the Klein Karoo cooperative is number one on the international market, with 90% of exports bound for Europe, principally France. A niche market they are keen to maintain and satisfy.
For production of birds to be stimulated, you need to have maximum contribution from all three markets, and this is not always possible.
But a recent outbreak of bird flu meant several thousand ostriches had to be killed. As a result, production suffered badly.
The volumes which we do currently are the lowest in probably the last 8 years, because we've been through a down cycle, and looking at today's economic conditions and the situation going forward, I think it will take a good 2 years at least before we start to see again an increase in production in the population of ostriches. So it's going to remain a niche for quite a while at least.
The exotic meat is low in cholesterol and is still popular with gourmets in Europe, both for its taste and its nutritional qualities. Farmers around the world are trying their hand at ostrich breeding in Australia, Israel, the Maghreb, and even in France. The big bird is a particularly profitable agricultural venture, but there are complications. The bird is surprisingly fragile, and the slightest variations in temperature can prove fatal for the chicks.
You hear this because there's very few ostriches in South Africa at the moment. The production has been going down, mainly because the income of the farmers wasn't really inviting higher production. The first harvest will be next year.
Annual turnover on his farm varies between 1 and 2.5 million euros, pretty much the same as a similar-sized farm with more traditional production. While his passion for the animal motivates him to overcome the obstacles, Piet Klein has nonetheless planted olive groves to diversify his production and have a stable income. Then comes the added problem of security.
Security is definitely a problem. Stock theft in South Africa in general is a problem. These feedlots, for instance, is electrified. So if you don't do that, there's problems with stock theft and ostrich theft.
Ostriches are quite tame and are popular with tourists keen to see the strange beast and its oversized eggs close up. The more adventurous can even take a ride. So the big bird is even good for tourism in Little Karoo, with the highlight being its famous ostrich races. South Africans and foreigners alike come to admire the beautiful simpleton in its magnificent environment, or maybe enjoy a plateful.
Welcome back to the second part of our show. The Democratic Republic of the Congo may soon come to an agreement with South African oil company Dig Oil Limited to end a conflict that has lasted more than 13 years. The case concerns the granting of petroleum licenses. It was the subject of an out-of-court agreement that the DRC will pay $300 million to Dig Oil Limited. This method of conflict mediation is increasingly sought after by businesses. In the Republic of the Congo, the Pointe-Noire Chamber of Commerce has set up a center since last October, which already carries out several arbitrations between oil companies. To speak about it, I'm joined by Parfait Pantou, General Delegate of the Congo Mediation and Arbitration Center in Pointe-Noire. Hello and thank you for joining me on Business Africa. Can you briefly tell us about the Arbitration and Mediation Center of the Pointe-Noire Samaco Chamber of Commerce? Semako Pointe Noire, or Semako in short, is an alternative justice institution for the purposes of settling business disputes through arbitration and mediation procedures while preserving the business relationship between the parties. It was created on the initiative of the Chambers of Commerce of Congo with the approval of the Congolese government, which is a signatory of the Ohada Treaty, and with the support of the European Union with the objective of improving the business climate. What are the relations between Semako and conventional justice? Can we speak of some kind of competition?
Concurrence, non.
Competition, no. Complementarity, yes. Alternative justice is complementary. It's a new method to improve the business climate. The state judge seized in case of a dispute whereby parties seek for settlement by arbitration and mediation must declare himself incompetent in favor of Semako today. Since the structure is there, now whether it's traditional justice, the auxiliaries of state justice, everyone has their score to play. The role of the state judge is exercised in two cases provided for in the 2017 Uniform Acts of the Ohada Treaty. That is, in the exequatur of the Semako sentence. The second case is that of the appeal for annulment of the arbitral award. The court of officials, for example, at the level of lawyers, they inform their clients of this new method of dispute resolution, advise and defend their clients at the level of the arbitration tribunal. The notary informs and examines the contracts of his clients. The investigation takes place within the framework of the insertion of arbitration clauses, which make provision for settling disputes amicably during arbitration. The bailiff is responsible for the forced execution of arbitral sentences bearing the enforceable formula where the state judge has been exequatured. But I can confirm that there's no competition. On the contrary, it's complementarity with the aim to relieve the courts. How does the business world welcome these new arbitration possibilities? Many companies are now starting to introduce into their contracts arbitration clauses and mediation compromises, which give them access to alternative justice. Paris was not done in a day. We must be patient and continue to believe in this innovative project, which will contribute to the development of our companies and to improve the business climate. Parfait Pantou, thank you for your time. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, the FAO, as well as the African Union, have just launched a guide to boost inter-African agricultural trade. This initiative comes in the context of the beginnings of the African Continental Free Trade Area, the AFCFTA, on January 1st. It aims to encourage the pursuit of industrial transformation policies and support to the private sector to stimulate African exports. It may not be a classic agricultural export, and yet it shows some promise. MG Health, a Lesotho company, has just obtained European Union's Good Manufacturing Practice certificate to export medical cannabis. The agreement will allow it to increase production from 250 kilo to 100 tons to meet growing international demand. The first deliveries to Germany are scheduled for next month. And on the other side of the continent in Togo, we are focusing on pineapple cultivation. This is a priority sector that concerns 3,200 producers. About 30,000 tons are produced each year, 65% of which is organic pineapple. The value chain that has been created around the sector benefits many Togolese in the packaging and processing sectors, but also in wholesale and retail trade. We met these organic pineapple growers. Take a look.
In Togo, Esso Kanja's successful second career is a source of much admiration. This one-time employee in the financial sector has a lot to be proud of. As well as starting a new professional life just as he was about to retire, he has also built a flourishing business that now exports organic pineapples. He believes his story should motivate tomorrow's business leaders.
Il faut que nous soyons en mesure d'encourager nos enfants.
We have to be able to encourage our children and our brothers to get into private initiatives. Look where we are. What can we export except for our phosphates? And that won't last forever. Well, agricultural produce, of course. You have to show people that agriculture is profitable. And it is. It is a sector with a future for the young.
Launched 6 years ago in the outskirts of Lomé, the Togolese capital, Agrofilière specializes in the export of dried pineapple and organic fruit juice and is now a very profitable business. In one of these workshops, equipped with drying ovens, the employees prepare and dispatch the pineapples to France, the sector's main market. They each carry the label Bio-Made in Togo. Esso Kanja is a company leader and a team player. His project brings local farmers together in associations. Some discovered organic and pineapple farming thanks to him.
Aujourd'hui, nous avons un potentiel très important parce que le rendement
We have enormous potential.
de l'ananas, c'est
The
extrêmement
yield factor for pineapple is very high and it is very profitable.
très rentable. Un hectare bien piqué, bien entretenu.
A hectare of well-planted and well-maintained land can produce up to 5 tons.
L'ananas aujourd'hui est une
Smallholding farmers can get wealthy easily growing pineapples, as long as they are well organized and are determined to make money.
à faire de l'argent.
Indeed, living standards have risen significantly for farmers that have joined the associations. Thanks to the producers' cooperatives, they have a guaranteed market for their produce and get a good price.
La production d'ananas là, ça nous aide beaucoup à Daviri. Cela fait que
Pineapple production has done a lot for us in Deveji. It has reduced the rural exodus towards Lomé by helping us earn enough to feed ourselves and send our children to school. That puts us in a good situation here. We can help our young people fulfill themselves. As parents, it encourages us to persuade our children to learn about farming and pineapple production.
The farmers' enthusiasm for the new venture was even greater than expected, but not everybody had access to sufficient areas of land. Agrofilière and the authorities provided 300 hectares free of charge. These plots now yield more than 1,000 tons of produce each year. Togo's organic and fair trade sweet cayenne and sugarloaf pineapples are grown mainly in the south of the country on vast stretches of land. Here in the regions of Blifou, Zolo and the Dagny Plateau, they are not at risk from pollution by chemicals and intensive farming methods. Every day, more and more small-holding farmers follow Esso's example, and the pineapple pioneer never tires of advising producers on how to improve yields and make production more professional. Here, he is establishing a new cooperative, the latest to join the network.
Notre objectif, c'est d'organiser et d'installer les groupes.
Our mission is to organize and set up associations.
Promouvoir la production de l'ananas par un encadrement des groupements de
We monitor what they do and make sure they stick to specifications for organic farming.
et on va les amener à respecter le cahier de charge bio. On va les amener à respecter les règles.
We're going to encourage them to follow modern production methods to improve yields.
Améliorer leur rendement culturel.
A team of technicians is on hand to provide farmers with practical advice.
Mon travail d'encadrement consiste à donner.
My job as an advisor is to provide producers with the technical notions they need to have a better yield.
Avoir de bons rendements.
This agricultural initiative has even earned praise from representatives of UNIDO, the UN Industrial Development Organization. Esso Kanja's fruitful venture has also caught the attention of authorities in Lomé. They see encouraging signs that Togo can diversify its economy and reduce its dependency on phosphate exports.
Well, it's now time to reward our loyal viewers of Business Africa. It's up to you to answer to the following questions. If you're drawn among those who have given the correct answers, you will win $150. This is game number 549, so listen carefully to the 2 questions that follow, and good luck. First question. What is the alternative material proposed to replace wood for building canoes in Ghana? Rubber, plastic, fiberglass. Second question. How much pineapple can be produced on 1 hectare? 25 kilograms, 500 kilograms, or 5 tons? You know the answers. You can participate now by going to our website, africaonair.com, answer the questions, fill out your form, and good luck. And of course, don't forget to include your contact details, name, address, telephone, email, and the number of the game you are entering with the answers, of course. This game, for example, is game number 549. The winner will receive $150 as our winner this week. Congratulations! You gave the correct answers to our game number 545. Here are the details. First question. How many women have been trained at the Raoul F. Pointe-Noire Training Institute? The answer is 7. Second question. Since when has Cameroon implemented a rice cultivation development strategy in the country? The answer is 2010. Well, that's it. Business Africa is over for today. I'll see you next week, same time, same channel, for a new edition of Initiative Africa. We'll meet Congolese storyteller Gabriel Kinsa. In the meantime, you can watch this program again on our website, africaonair.com, as well as on all our social media platforms. Feel free to share, like, and comment using the hashtag Business Africa TV show. Take care of yourselves and see you next week. Goodbye.